you cannot have an opinion about what's going on in the country because you're not a citizen, you're just an immigrant. So you can imagine how the emotions that like were inside of me,
Like, okay,
well, that was fine, right? Like, no,
I'm ready.
What I did, I went outside, I did a couple breathing exercises, came back, and just carried on.
You decide what kind of reaction you deliver.
Yeah.
So pretty much you controlling your emotions.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's an exercise that you have to practice pretty much like with the gym, right?
Yeah.
You go to the
Yeah.
gym, you train your body, same way you do it every. Hi everyone. So today we're going to do another live about mental health, and we're gonna provide some tools that help you control your emotions. How are you, everyone? Hi everyone.
Hello?
Hi Liz, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Can you hear me fine?
Yep. Do you hear me
Nice.
fine?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly. Awesome.
Awesome. How are you today? How's everything?
It's been an interesting day, and so do you want to dive in?
Yes, let's talk about controlling emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I will try to explain it with a real case. Let's pretend that you're driving on a very high speed and suddenly someone stop in front of you on a highway. So what's going to happen? For example, you hit your brake pedal, you are safe, but your emotions, your hormones, adrenaline,
Mm-hmm.
your heart pulse, your heart starts beating very fast. So it's pretty quick situation, but your body reacts so quick.
Mm-hmm.
Your heartbeat is raising, your hormones, your adrenaline, your cortisol level, everything goes up. Pretty much from this, we can understand that our body creates hormones in responses to certain situations. You know, if it's critical.
Yeah, and
So
you obviously it's a very good example that you're bringing up because we all live, in America where everybody drive, right? So I think it's actually like it's a very practical situation, right? But it happens to so many of us all the time, every day, because everybody has to deal with traffic, and if you live like in LA like you do, you have to deal with just thousands of people constantly, and just commuting to work where you might have to deal at work later on with your boss, with your colleagues and whatnot. You just gonna go through this emotional roller coaster that will set your day if you allow it to.
I totally agree. Can you please, can we dive in and can you share your personal example with that?
Yeah, I am naturally a very reactive and aggressive person, and I have like a hot-headed, hot-tempered type of thing. In a situation where something affects me on the external level, like it comes from another person, my defense mechanism usually is to attack that. Well, not physically attack, but like verbally attack a person, right? So I had a situation not so long ago, like a few months ago, that actually taught me a really good lesson when it comes to controlling emotions. Is my husband and I, we met with a friend of his who is, so like I mentioned in the last video, my husband is in the military, right? So a friend who we were meeting up with was a friend that he made when he was deployed in Africa a few years ago. So it's a very important connection for him, right? So we met with that person who shall remain nameless, and like few other people who were also military. Yeah, I don't want to put him on blast, even though I want to. And like five other people who were also military service members. So I was the only woman there, and obviously it was like like we were having fun, we were drinking and stuff like that. So that person and myself, we got into a conversation that didn't end very well. Like a person was extremely abrasive, like very negative talking to me. And he told me, I think that I don't really hear much when I'm in America because I'm an immigrant. So he basically told me, we were talking politics, unfortunately, and he told me a thing along the lines of like, you cannot have an opinion about what's going on in the country because you're not a citizen, you're just an immigrant. So you can imagine how the emotions that like were inside of me, because well, first of all, I was in disbelief. My second reaction wanted to be like, just go in and put him on blast. But the thing was is that we were in a public place, right? And even though
He's like, okay,
well, that was mine, right? Like that was
I'm ready.
That was like my first reaction. But it's like, what will that do, right? So obviously that guy is an asshole, right? But it's also at the same time, it's a person that
asshole if you're watching, by the way.
I don't think he is. I don't think he dives into mental health, which he needs to do. So look at me being petty as fuck.
I agree, you know.
So what happened is that I just remember when that situation happened, my husband wasn't present when that conversation happened. He went to use the restroom. And I just remember that, like, I was like, okay, I cannot follow my impulses right now, right? Like, I cannot. We were in a bar. We were in the public place. I am the only woman with, like, 6 military guys. And I started thinking, it's like, what should I do in that moment? Like, should I say it to my husband? Should I just like stand up and act on my pride and ego and be like, well, fuck you guys, I'm out? Like, what would that accomplish? What if I could, you know, I don't know, on emotion say it to my husband and he would, I don't know, misunderstand it or something? And what if they would get into a fight? They're in the military, they cannot fight. Like, it's really important, you know, it's important to abide the law when you're in the military. So that could have, like, something like that can impact other people's careers and stuff like that. So what I did, I went outside, I did a couple breathing exercises, came back and just carried on. And obviously the next day I brought it up to my husband, we talked about it, you know. And you know, another thing too is that that person, even though he was an asshole to me, is a, you know, kind of important person to my husband, in the sense where, you know, military guys, when they're deployed abroad, they build really strong connections when they're in the war zone. And I know that these bonds are very unique. So it was also like a responsibility kind of to be like, okay, I'm not going to go ahead and break that bond like that, you know, by following my impulses. You have to be in control at that moment. So, and it wasn't an easy thing to do, but I think, you know, these type of, because you're constantly going to be dealing with these people, right? There's millions of stupid people who don't know how to talk to you and stuff. Yeah, that was my experience with that. I think so far it's been the most vivid experience that I remember, because the phrase that I was told really insulted me. And it was the first time in my life when I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get into your fucking loop, and I'm not going to close it for you. If you're a negative person, something must have happened to you. It has nothing to do with me. And I just moved on.
Wow. So pretty intense moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
An intense topic, because you are an immigrant. You decided to react differently,
mm-hmm.
and you decided to move out, just literally walked out and connected within yourself, did your breathing exercise. Since then, you've been practicing that tool, and that pretty much every time that something like that happens, you have these 2 seconds. It helps you to actually decide, what do you want? How do you want to react? Do you want to be in that situation, or do you want to move on? And you decide what kind of reaction you deliver.
Yeah.
So pretty much you controlling your emotions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's an exercise you have to practice pretty much like with the gym, right?
Yeah.
You go to the gym, you train your body, same way you do it every day. And we're all humans, you know, different cases, different circumstances, for example, where you have only 1 second to respond because it's causing something. If you don't, it might cause you a life, or it might cause you a very danger, or it might cause you something not that important. For example, somebody is damaging your property, you know, or something like that, where you have only 1 second to say, please stop. Otherwise, there's more damage. So,
I wanted to ask you a question, like the situation that you brought up about, like being behind the wheel, right, and being triggered by another person on the road doing the wrong turn or cutting you or whatever. So, have you ever experienced? So, let's say this hypothetical person who is in that situation. I think you and I both we've experienced when people when they're when these situations happen to them, right? Like they don't know how to deal with it, right? Like these situations provoke very negative emotions in them. And then what do these people typically do after? Excuse me for cutting you. Where I'm leading is, have you ever had?
Hey, how are you today? But listen, what happened? And they bring this drama to you.
Oh
And
my God, just
if you are an empath, if you are a person who actually care about that person, of course, you will still understand what's going on with them, and it still will affect you in a certain way because it is your friend and you
yep.
empathize them, you want to help them, right? So I think it's really important to actually not pass it to someone and not to call someone out.
Yeah, but these of the what I brought up about like people calling other people because, and I think we all been there. When we get in these situations and we want to call and talk about it. In actuality, it just becomes this just straight up. You just open a hose of negativity and you dump it on people that you value, right? So you turn them into emotional trash cans essentially, and you keep on dumping it and dumping it. And I think a lot of people think when they call their friend and they discuss these negative emotions, they like, oh, I just got to talk it over, right? Like it's going to be done. I think in actuality they just start the cycle, and it gets them more riled up and more riled up and more riled up, and they actually end up, like you said, they are on this like emotion for like a week.
Every day
Keep on.
deciding to still think about it, every day making choice to still think about that, what happened before that case, and then sharing with people, pretty much creating same hormones, cortisol,
Oh yeah.
adrenaline, heartbeats, and maybe overeating because you have to deal with that depression.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the question of controlling emotions, right? And I think it's important to say that there has to be a distinction between suppressing emotions and controlling emotions, right? Because we don't
Yeah.
want to suppress negative emotions either, just because, yes, like you said, it can lead to overeating, it can lead to drinking, smoking, all kinds of things, right? So we don't want to suppress them, but controlling your emotions is so important, because if you're gonna be in possession of that negative feeling for long amount of time, just gonna spread it all around you, to your spouse, to your partner, to your kids,
So
to
your
your
friends,
colleagues, everything.
or to your work.
Oh yeah, or to your work.
Have you ever
Yeah.
experienced you pulling up to a restaurant, the person that is at reception that sees you, that welcomes you
Mm-hmm.
as face of the brand, is telling you pretty much like why you fucking came here. That's how you read it because you step in to purchase something, or you
And
customer,
then if it's your business, right? If it's like, let's say you're the owner of that bar or restaurant where your employee is riled up on their emotions and they bring it to work, what do you get? Negative reviews, or you lose your customers, you lose all of it. That person might lose a job. Like it's really like it leads to really bad results in the end of the day. If you just allow these, if you just fall into your impulses, basically.
we're trying to say that controlling your emotion leads you to the point where you control your response.
Yeah.
So your hormones don't jump. Your heart, and it's not jumping. It's not hard for you to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And you are able to control the situation, and you are able to, in that normal state, to find a better answer for you. Because if it's an emergency and you have this 2 seconds, you most likely will make a decision that leads you to a better resolving it, to a better answer.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And I want to add,
to practice it.
I want to add that, so with some people, right, sometimes it's hard to control your right, like, so like you said, controlling responses. I will say, like, in my personal experience, right, like I said, I'm a hot-headed person.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm in these type of situations, my heart rate still goes up. I still experience anxiety. Sometimes my breathing, depending on the time of the month, like all of these things, like, they happen still. What is important, another important thing, is to be self-aware of it, right?
So recognize
So
it when it happens.
yeah, so recognize it, because if you see yourself in a pattern, right, so once you start experiencing this pattern, you have to be able to recognize it. And then, if you're a person who's prone to anxiety, like I have a high functioning anxiety, for example, this is when you become responsible and you understand that what's happening to you, you recognize it, and you start doing exercises, like you start doing breathing exercises. You start doing whatever to control that emotion, to not to suppress it, but to calm yourself down, because you need to have cool head, basically, because you're not living in the world by yourself. You have people around you, you have a family, you have everybody, and you don't want to be a dumpster fire, basically, when you're around them, because someone triggered something in you.
And I think it's very important to mention that start recognizing what happened. It is very important because it's hard, it's a skill that you have to pretty much do, and over every day you have to do it over, learn, practice it. And simply noticing that, it leads you to the second part, where you maybe first time, second time, you just notice, but you still act not how you want it.
Mm-hmm.
But then after, day by day, you might be able to actually not only notice, but act on it the way you want it to act.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a thing.
Absolutely.
Yes, and it's a thing where you don't become, right, self-aware in a day. It doesn't happen. Like, it can take years.
I remember you mentioned that you were actually able to track that process for you, and for you it took several years, more like almost 3 years.
Yes,
Until
absolutely.
today,
Yes.
practicing every day. But you have those 2 seconds where you decide how you act, what you do,
Yeah.
and you stop these loops and cycles. You, let's say something happened to you, you realize, okay, I'm in a loop, I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me cut that loop. Let me switch my mind, and you start doing your practices and
Yeah.
your exercises. You go to the gym, and you pretty much know how to deal with it.
Yes, absolutely. And you have to, right? It's like, I call it emotional hygiene, right? So you have to, your routine, your daily routine matters a lot when you deal with these situations. You know how people say, like, oh, people bring work home, right? Because work is stressful. Any work, if you own a business, if you work for somebody, it's going to be stressful regardless. There's a lot of people who bring work home, who come home, who are negative to their kids, to their partners. You have to create a routine that will basically, um, calm you down, and let you have a cool mind. So, like you said, gym is important. You have to find time. Well, not even gym, like just activity, right?
Physical activity.
Yeah, physical activity. You have to be aware of your responses. I also would want to say that one part of becoming self-aware is
When you say about physical activity, all I think about is
honestly, dude, any physical activity, and any endorphin provoking physical activity, so whatever floats your boat, whatever works
oh
for
my
you.
god.
Yeah. No, but it's important, because life is so freaking complicated, and that's why,
It's make that too makes it easier, because you are pretty much disattaching. You're not interacting with people that you don't want to interact. You see red flags. It leads to a lot of skills, because simply stepping into a bank and seeing somebody screaming, I don't know, customer or bank worker, wherever, you recognize it and you're like, okay, how do I react? And if they go on you, you don't react. You think first, right? And then you decide what way you want that case to lead.
Absolutely. And I would also add to what we're talking about is that one of the parts of embarking on the journey of becoming self-aware and being able to track your impulses, your responses, is to also deal with your ego. Because I also know from my personal experience, and in my personal case as well, when your ego is big, for a good reason or not, people tend
when you say when your ego is big, my eyes like shake like that. Oh my god. Ego,
so
go away.
right, like when you have a big ego, for like understandable reason, I know you're accomplished, you achieved a lot. Because you know how many people are there who are like, no, I'm right regardless. and they will get themselves into the situations, they will get triggered, and then they will actually be super defensive to a person that triggered them, and then they might end up in negative situations that have really bad results later on, you know. So I would say, if you do understand that you know, need to become self-aware in order to track your behavioral patterns and emotional patterns, you have to be humble too, and it's very important.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. I think it is very important, and I think we try to explain this topic from every side. So, on the hormone level, when you respond to those situations, your hormones, cortisol, the hormone that literally breaks down the protein in your muscles, like this is crazy, right?
It's
So your
absolutely crazy.
cortisol goes up, and your adrenaline in your heart pulse. So your body is reacting to it. So why would you continue to choose to prolong this state and create those hormones and be in that very low environment, just literally destroying your body? And I think that's the key of emotion, of the control of emotion.
Yeah.
This exercise pretty much unlocks a lot of areas for people. It's hard, but simply having this exercise will help you to improve your energy, because you will no longer waste it. You will recognize, okay, well, here I'm wasting so much energy. I cannot be someone's therapist for free. I cannot be receiving this negativity from this person. All I want to do is collaborate, make it better, invest, and you start recognizing those people who are the same, and they want to make this place better, and they help, they provide, they share, because in that position you can help more people. If you're surrounded by like-minded individuals, you are going to help more people. More people will join, and more people will understand what you're trying to bring on, versus trying to be surrounded by people who are constantly breaking you down and sharing how bad life is, and how everything is so complicated and blah 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 blah, when in reality having this simple tool helps you to control your emotions. Essentially, you're controlling your life. And
It sets you free, right? It literally sets you free, and that's important, because the minute the minute you allow yourself to be in control of your life, of your emotions, of your well-being, of people who are around you, that's when you actually set yourself free. You freely can make choices regardless of what people think. Like it just creates this really really good cycle, basically,
like a domino effect, like
like a really good domino effect. Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to add one more thing to what you were saying. I would say this: if you are a person who is very self-aware, who knows how to control your impulses, like where you've done your homework already, and like you are in that position, but you catch yourself in a situation where you have people around you that constantly call you, and they dump their shit on you, because a lot of times that actually happens. Once you figure your shit out, a lot of people will think that you have all the answers, and they're gonna freaking blast
it. They feel it.
They feel
it. They feel you know what to do.
Yeah, and I would say in that situation, don't enable that type of behavior. If it's people who you love, if it's your parents, your siblings, your best friends, that's where you have to be honest in a respectful manner. And if you want to help these people, but you have to, you have to address that, because you cannot be an emotional trash can, because it takes time. Yeah, it takes time to be in control of yourself, and you don't want to go backwards.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very
It's a very good subject. It's a very good topic, and I don't think a lot of people talk about it, And obviously, it's an umbrella topic, right? Because there are so many other things we can talk about. We just don't have, life doesn't allow us to go.
Yes, and I'm gonna make a tracker, like a PDF file, for everyone who are actually interested in this exercise and who is not yet accomplished that level where still it's happening, when you feel like, okay, I should have reacted differently, and I should have controlled my emotions and my actions. So I will create a PDF file tracker where you can actually check with yourself, hey, today, did it work for me? Did I control my emotions? Did I decide what I want to do, or my body react first? So I think just text me in DM word emotion, and I will send you the PDF file. Also, I want to say thank you guys for watching. And if you have any questions, you can always, I can see there's some questions and there's some hello. Well, you can always leave your questions or anything in comments or DM us. And I want to say thank you so much for watching. And please, if you find something useful, something that can help your friends, share it. And I will um, try to have lives with Lise.
Yeah, and I
And we
also
will
wanted
open.
to add. I also wanted
Oh,
to
you want to
mention
add
this.
something?
No, I just
Sorry.
want to, per usual. No, what I want to add is,
I
if
was
you
just a
guys,
little bit nervous because
no, no, no,
the
no, it's 30 seconds. If you have
okay.
any topics in mind, like people who are watching us, if you have any topics in mind that you actually want us to talk about, that would be cool. Like if if you want to bring up like any mental health things that you want us to talk about, just, text Bobby, DM him
Yes,
so
I
that
have
we can
another
go over
page.
them.
I have another page, and one guy texted me about his wife being um, he said something like she always brings the negative energy and it's hard for him to deal with it.
Oh my
So he texted
gosh.
me and I told him that we're gonna go on live and I talk about emotions and
Mm-hmm.
how you can help maybe your loved ones to recognize those patterns. If you're in a relationship where you see that your partners constantly
That guy needs to DM my
react.
husband.
You said what? Sorry.
I said that guy needs to DM my husband because my husband knows how to deal with that shit.
Yeah. So, but pretty much, um, we explain how you can control emotions, and if
Mm-hmm.
you see that someone in your family is a negative thinker, you can slowly highlight it for them, simply showing how differently you react to it. If you
Yeah.
have that tool when you control your emotions, and if we talk about energy, it's a little bit deeper than that, but you can feel the vibe, right? And how
Yeah.
on the frequency level, we have emotions as a sadness. It's on a very lower vibrational chart. It's only and when the case is neutral, it's higher vibration. When the situation is more positive,
Mm-hmm.
it's more higher,
Yeah,
right, on the
it's higher
frequency. So
vibration.
pretty much, if you feel that your partner is negative and they always complain, but they don't resolve things. So you can literally explain it to them slowly, step by step, highlight that for them that they can actually think about something else,
Yeah,
think about
absolutely.
creating this future together, and focus on the good. And you can introduce them the tool that provides them to control the emotions and then slowly step by step controlling the other aspects of their life because this tool it's kind of transfers to the different aspects of your life.
Yeah,
That was like
absolutely.
for you know speech
Yeah,
of the year.
yeah. Well, I would say in the end, to say is be humble, know your patterns, be able to see them. Try to work on being self-aware. Be honest with your friends if you see their patterns and you see red flags from them. If you want to keep that relationship, help them out to be better. And yeah, don't
It's a
fall
full-time
into
work.
it's a lot of work, and don't break your emotional loops, and don't fall into other people's emotional loops because then it's just not going to be life.
Yeah, we all have different energies, so it's always an exchange. So you learn,
Yeah.
and if you have those tools, if you are mentally in a better place, it's good to be able to share it. If that person is asking for it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Do you think we can talk about? I like how you're sitting on your hair because of the wind.
Thank you.
Would you like to talk about some other aspects of the emotional emotional control tools?
Um, Emotional control tools. Yeah. So the thing is, I think there's obviously like plenty of tools, and right, like there's a lot of resources like on YouTube and that you can find. But I would say that I would say that you have to start from something, right? And your start have to be. I kind of have this. It's like a little exercise that I learned when I was doing my PhD. When you're in
When I was a
research,
stripper in Hollywood.
when I was doing my PhD, in South Korea, is that when you research something, right? Like you usually to get to the root cause problem, you have to ask question why 7 times. And I would say when you are experiencing, and this is where your recognition comes, right? So when you are in a situation where we're not talking about emergency situations, talking about daily practical shit. You are someone, I don't know, someone fucking yells at you at work for no goddamn reason. Someone is mean to you for no reason. A douchebag cuts you, on a highway. Well, once you experience that emotion, ask yourself why. Why am I experiencing that? What's causing it? Why am I feeling? Or let's say you don't recognize it right away, and then you come to work and your anxiety is through the roof. Ask yourself why. The more you ask yourself why, or that, because in the end of the day, like if it's another person who affects you, right? You can also, like, it's gonna lead you to asking a question: why are they this way, right?
Yep.
And yeah, so I would say it's just like it's a very easy thing. It's very easy question, and it's like a really good place to start. It's not complicated. You just literally ask questions, and it's gonna lead you to, like, the
Look
more
at
you
that
ask.
in from different sides of perspectives, and look at it all the way around.
Yeah, yeah,
And see
absolutely.
what's up.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. So comment below, text us if you have any questions, ask us any questions. And,
Oh yeah, and if you have any personal situations, or let's say like your friends went through something, obviously anonymously, let us know so we can go over it and talk about it.
I would say again, anonymously.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, no mentioning
We
names.
can bring up your case and what's happening around, and we can talk on next live about it and see what is the solution for it, what kind of tools you can use right now to make yourself better, in a better position, in a safer position. And in general, we will bring them all, and yeah, that will be fun, right?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
Bring
so
them
much
some
fun.
stories.
Okay, thank
All
you
right,
so
on
much
this
for having
good
me.
note, thank you guys for watching. We all love you. Until the next time.
Bye.
Bye.